Welcome back to the Takeout. Food aid under the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, better known as SNAP, is on track to run out this weekend for 42 million Americans because of the ongoing government shutdown. Earlier, Democratic Senator Ben Ray Lujan tried to pass a standalone bill to keep federal food aid funded. Here's what Senate Majority Leader John Thune said while objecting.
The senator from New Mexico was absolutely right. SNAP recipients shouldn't go without food. People should be getting paid in this country. And we've tried to do that 13 times. And you voted no 13 times.
Getting a little feisty there in Washington. New York Democratic Congresswoman Laura Gillen joins us now to discuss. She is, you're not in Washington, right? You're back home on Long Island?
Yes, I got back home late last night.
So I think one of the things, and we'll do this of our subsequent lawmaker joining us later, that's worth asking someone like you right now is, you know, aside from the rhetoric, where I know you'll probably ultimately blame the other side, what are you doing today to try to end this government shutdown?
So I'm reaching out to folks in my district. I'm talking about the impact of the shutdown, what it's having on them. I'm reaching out to leadership to say, let's come together. Let's find a way to make sure that we get through this shutdown. Right now, it's out of the hands of the House of Representatives. It's in the hands of the Senate. And I've heard some encouraging things that they're actually talking to each other, which is what did not happen in the House of Representatives. There was absolutely no dialogue between the Republicans and the Democrats when they were talking about passing a CR. That's not the way to govern. We could have avoided all of this if the Republicans just talked to us and said, look, we understand you want to save healthcare. This is important to us too. Let's find a way to come together and find a compromise. But that's not what happened in the House. I hope it's going to happen in the Senate because there are millions of Americans who are going to be priced out of healthcare. And we're going to start seeing those notices hit mailboxes next week. And we have to make sure that we are doing what we need to save healthcare for millions of Americans.
Sure. And I'll get to healthcare in a second, but this more immediate concern about SNAP, or what was once known as Food Stamps, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. You pointed out on social media, thousands of people on Long Island are going to be affected by this. We said it earlier, 42 million across the country, 12% of Americans in one way or another benefit from this. What are you doing to help constituents there in New York who may see their food aid slipping away this weekend?
So I've been advocating with the Department of Agriculture. There is a reserve fund of $5 billion. It's a contingency fund that could be utilized to make sure that these SNAP programs are getting the funding they need to get food out to the people who need it. That has fallen on deaf ears, and it's really unfortunate that using hunger is being used as a political weapon to try to get a certain political results or to point the fingers at the other side. That's not the way we should govern as Americans. We should be working together to do what's in the best interest of all our constituents. This hunger does not just help people in blue states, it helps people in red states, it helps people from both parties, all parties, no parties. And we in Congress have a job to make sure that we are feeding our citizens.
For you and other Democrats, this is an argument that began over subsidies to help pay for the Affordable Care Act. But the Congressional Budget Office is now warning that the shutdown could cost the economy up to $14 billion, and that's only if this ends by the end of November. Could go longer than that, so it could cost the economy even more money. Are you certain that this fight over those subsidies for healthcare is worth it when now it looks like there could be a pretty big economic hit and tens of millions of Americans may run the risk of going hungry next week?
We have a cost of living crisis in this country. Americans feel like no one in Washington is fighting for them. We have seen the largest transfer of wealth in the big, beautiful bill that we have ever seen. We need to know that we need to let our constituents know that we are fighting for them, whether it's lowering their costs for healthcare, lowering the cost for groceries, and this is a fight, we are in it for them. And 80% of Americans believe that these healthcare tax credits should be extended. The Republicans should get on board. This should not be a partisan issue. This is something that we should do right away. November 1st, those notices are coming out. I heard from a constituent in my district, this is just one story of somebody who called into my office, that her health insurance premium is going up $1,500, and she will not be able to afford to insure herself and insure her family any longer.
But after
We
29
shouldn't be doing-
days, haven't you made the point?
Yeah. It's not about making a point. This is not about political points or gamesmanship. This is about lives. And the cost to healthcare will go up far higher if we find millions of Americans fall off their health insurance. Because instead of going to the doctor when they could prevent serious illness or injuries from occurring, they're going to go later, and they're going to use the emergency room as their primary care doctor, and that greatly and dramatically increases costs.
Yeah. Now, I've got to ask you, as a New York Democrat representing the suburbs of New York City, the mayor's race is obviously next week. You have said that Zohran Mamdani, the Democratic candidate, is, quote, too extreme to lead New York City. But your fellow New York Democratic colleague, Congressman Tom Suozzi, today endorsed Andrew Cuomo, the former governor who's running as an independent. I'm curious, are you joining Suozzi and endorsing Cuomo? Are you staying out of it? What says the Congresswoman about that race?
So Congressman Suozzi represents part of the New York City, the boroughs. I do not represent New York City, but I felt that I needed to speak out on this race because I am gravely concerned that the policies espoused by Mr. Mamdani would be hurtful to the New York City economists, which would have ruinous effects throughout, rippling effects throughout not only the suburbs of New York City, but throughout New York State. I'm very concerned about his policies. I'm very concerned about some of the statements that he has made, which have incited fear in some of the people that I represent. And so that's why I felt I needed to speak out on behalf of my constituents. That's my job as their representative.
The issues, his statements about the Middle East and such aside, and that's an obvious concern for many communities across the tri-state area, what about a rent freeze or free buses would adversely affect the economy of Long Island?
So first of all, nothing is free. There's always a cost. And people have Forbes magazine looked at his policies, and even if he raised taxes the way he proposed, which he does not even have the legal authority to do, but even if he got those tax hikes, they would not pay for all the policies that he has talked about. He does not have the authority as the mayor of New York City to say all bus rides are going to be free. You have to go to the MTA for that. And so he's espousing a lot of things that he actually can't deliver on. And if he does deliver on them, could be economically ruinous for New York City. And we will see businesses close and businesses leave New York. I spoke with someone in my district this week who is a businessman who said, if Mamdani becomes the mayor and he is elected and he enacts on some of the policies that he's espoused, he's taking his business and he's moving it to Miami. We have seen a flight of business and wealth out of New York City, and that is going to be devastating to our state economy if it keeps happening.
Democratic Congresswoman Laura Gillen of New York, specifically parts of Long Island. We thank you so much for joining us. Come back again sometime. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ed.